Hi guys, and welcome back to Silk Synopsis Breakdown. In this video, I'm going to give you guys a rundown on the film Disappearing Acts that stars Sanaa Lathan and Wesley Snipes. So this film is actually an adaptation of a novel by the same name by Terry McMillan, a novel that came out in 1989 by the same name. And the movie obviously came out in 2000, which it's pretty, it's a long time ago now, really. I mean, nearly 25 years ago. So it's got some years on it. And I feel like it's one of those movies where you can actually learn a whole lot. Because I'm telling you now, there's so many red flags in this movie. So it starts off with a lady called Zora Banks. And she's heading down to Brooklyn from Manhattan as she wants to pursue her music career as a singer. And she's looking around. She's like, yeah, this is going to be my life. So then the mover who has driven her to her apartment to obviously drop off all of her luggage there and everything, he ends up taking out all of her stuff out the lorry and dumping it there and saying to her, like, I'm sorry, but I've got things to do. I can't help you, with bringing your things in your apartment. She's like, what? I paid for this and everything. You can't do this. And I know that I would be mad if someone tried to do that to me. Like, what? So they're going back and forth a little bit, the mover and Zora, and that ends up ending. So then Zora ends up looking up and seeing one of the workers, right, that's working on the apartment. And these two end up in a conversation, right? And he says to her, you won't be able to go into your apartment yet because the wood grains have not been dried yet. And she's like, I don't care about no flooring being dried. I just want to get into my apartment. Like, you can imagine this woman has been in that lorry for a long ass time. So, mate, get me up in there, okay? So, this worker, he then ends up agreeing with helping her to move her stuff up. So, yeah. I feel like off the bat, there's definitely some kind of attraction that these two have for one another. Like, it's very clear to see. And, like, just the way that they look at each other and everything. And, what ends up happening is that they go into the apartment and drop off all of her belongings in there. And they end up having a conversation, like, getting to know one another. So now I'm going to do a little synopsis on Zora. We know that number one, she's obviously determined because she's come from Manhattan. She's moved to Brooklyn to pursue her music. And then we know that she's optimistic because she has some kind of hope of this working out for her. And during the conversation between her and the guy who is helping her to move her stuff in the apartment, we learn that we can see that she's friendly and easygoing. So both of them just kind of like introduce themselves to each other, like, my name is Zora. And then he's like, oh, you were named after that famous writer. And then he says what his name is and everything. And they just kind of become a little bit more acquainted. And there is this kind of like ongoing flirtation going on. Like, even when he was helping her bring up her stuff up the stairs, like, she was looking at him, okay? So, yeah. But yeah, they just get into a conversation about why she has come down to Brooklyn and everything, and just all of that kind of stuff, really. So what ends up happening is then he's like, oh, your boyfriend, is he going to help you with the rest of this stuff in terms of unpacking and everything? And then she's like, I don't have a boyfriend. And then he's essentially like, if I helped you, it will be done within a blink of an eye. And they agree, both of them agree to meet so that he can, help her with the rest of her stuff. So they arrange a time for the next day at around 6:00 to meet up for him to help. And he says for free. And he's also like, oh, you women don't want to accept any help. And she's like, what kind of women? And then he's like, yeah, young, beautiful, independent and everything. And I feel like when that happens, like, I don't know, there's just something I don't like about this guy. Like, I can't work him out. There's something that I can't quite put my finger on, you know? And remember those damn floors that she didn't want to wait for, right? She was loving those floors. When she winded down and everything, like, she's sitting there on the floor and she's feeling how glossy it feels and everything. And I feel like with these kinds of floors, like, I know that I would get them for myself. Like, I'd be doing the exact same thing, period. So life continues and they go about their business and everything. And Franklin is seen, going to work. Well, what he would have thought would have been work. And his boss, who, I don't know, this guy just like one of the most unreliable people. He's like, nah, Franklin, like, I ain't got no work for you. And he said that he'll let him know when he does have work. Franklin is upset because it's probably really difficult, being a construction worker to begin with and hustling and everything in New York. So it's like a real big slap in the face. So yeah, like, oh my God. So he ends up at this bar with one of his friends and, they're just, I guess, having a little conversation, a little meet up or whatever. And maybe he's gone here because he's feeling a bit down and out because obviously he didn't get that job and he needs the money, so he's just using that to cope as a coping mechanism or something. His friend is like, yeah, can you lend me money, da da da. Also Zora, she has her own life. She's working. Her bread and butter is teaching music at this school. And she's like, and they're singing like, you make my da 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 da. If you've watched the movie, da da, you make my life da 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 for the joy that you bring. Okay, so yeah, that's how she makes her money. So time passes by, right? And obviously Zora goes back home to her apartment, and she's like, where is this guy? He said that he was going to come and help me, and it's way past six o'clock in the evening. And even at the bar, right? At the bar, he looks at the time. He's like, oh crap, like, I gotta get out of here and everything. So this is like, and I feel like this is one of the first roaring red flags. Okay. So Zora, she loses her patience naturally. Like, if you say that you're gonna do something, then do it, and like, bruh. So she ends up getting the urge to go and get some Chinese food, and then when she goes into the Chinese shop, guess who ends up preparing, right? He's like heading down to where she lives, but then she sees him through the Chinese shop window, and he's like, I'm sorry that I wasn't able to, get there on time to help you with your stuff and everything. And yeah, and he's just, I don't know, he's cheeky. He's like, you got some Chinese food in there for me and everything. And to be honest with you, for someone that you don't even know, like, it's a little bit too emotional for me anyway. Like, too much is going on. It would have been better off if he didn't show up, You're gonna come and help me with this stuff later into the evening. Like, no, I don't even know you like that. She doesn't even know him like that to be doing all that. So he should have just come by maybe the next day earlier or something. So yeah, they're back in the apartment now, and Franklin is helping her to install, well, not helping her to install, but he is installing some of the he is putting together like some of the the furniture and everything, and helping her. And to be honest with you, like, this ordeal that's going on at the apartment is very, very, very friendly. Like, she's being a little bit vulnerable and telling him a little bit about herself, really. And he now knows that her mother died, and that she has this dream piano that she wants, but it's on layaway, and just different things about herself that are like personal things. I mean, obviously this is her choice, and it's a movie at the end of the day, but it's like, these kinds of situations that women end up in sometimes, it's crazy because you're just allowing someone that you don't really know into your home like that. And obviously she likes him, but I don't know, you know, I just don't know. It's just a bit too personal. Like, maybe if they had, they obviously know that they like each other, but maybe if they had gone on a couple dates beforehand, and then he can come to her apartment like that, on that level, because as I said, it seemed very personal. So Franklin then starts to tell Zora about his dreams, you know, because she's like, what, you just want to work for that Vinny guy, which is the man that is like unreliable. In the beginning I showed you a picture of him. Don't you have any other dreams or aspirations and everything? And she's like, I don't know, this is when she really starts to like him. Maybe she's seen the potential in him, you know.
But what I want to do is I want to get a contract to fix him up.
So Zora then ends up meeting up with her friends, her girls, to, you know, have a little kiki or whatever. And, you know, she's just talking to them, and, you know, they're having a little catch up. And one of her friends, whose name is Portia, she seems to be like ahead of her time when it comes to the mindset that she has about men. Like, she's like, no, they have to provide, they gotta take care of me and all these things. And then her other friend, Claudette, she seems to be a little bit more, how do I say it, like, she seems to be a little bit more, like, she's against that, I guess, right? She's like, the only way for a man to take care of you is not just by him buying you pearls and diamonds and everything. And then, you know, the other friend, Portia, is like, well, what about, look at the ring on your hand? Like, you know, I think her friend Portia is just a lot more realistic, you know, and she lives in the real world more, and she seems pretty set on her opinions. But you know, Zora's telling them about this new guy called Franklin and everything, and they seem to know what her type is, because this guy walks by and he has, like, he's black and he's got like a bald head, and they were like, yes, that's your type right there. And then she's like, no, he's nothing like this guy that I met, this brother. And then she also says that she tried to date the guys with the suits and everything, but, you know, they just didn't do it for her, I guess. So yeah. So then Zora is on her way back home from the outing with the girls, and guess who is like right at the front of her apartment? Guess, okay. This guy called Franklin, looking tipsy as heck, you know, and she's like, what the hell are you doing here? Rightfully so, right? What the hell are you doing at my house? And, you know, she's like, what? And then he's like, you know, and then she said, what if I was with someone? And then he's like, well, I would have just acted like, you know, I don't know you or something like that. But then he then says to her, so can I come in? And it's like he knows that she's gonna let him in, because she says yes, right? Like, I don't even know you like that for you to be showing up at my apartment, and then you're like, yeah, I'm gonna be let in. No. And yeah, you know what they did. ... The morning after, they're having this little debrief, and she's saying, you know, I've just got so many things going on. I'm juggling so much. Obviously, she wants to do the music thing. She has a demo for this producer to listen to. And then he's like, you know, I never wanted to deal with any women because I want to get my business started up and everything. And if I don't do it now, when is it going to get done? And then she's like, you know, she's in the same place. But I don't know, man. maybe this is really, really her type, and she feels deep, deep, deep emotions for him. And he says something about, I just feel like I've just won the lottery meeting you and everything, but or you just see her as prey and you know that she's gonna let you into her apartment, okay? But at the end of the day, guys, he does say to her during this morning, conversation, I'm not one of these kind of men who's got all this money and everything, so, I'm just letting you know that from now. So he does tell her how it is, lets her know everything. Well, not everything, not everything yet. And she's like, I like you for you, bruh. Franklin meets up with his friend at this bar, and he's talking about how much he likes her, and I think he definitely likes her. I think he likes her in a way that she doesn't necessarily expect much from him, but he still likes her. So Franklin ends up surprising her with, remember that piano that she had on layaway? Yeah, he bought that. He bought her a piano. And I think this is a really lovely gesture. I mean, it shows that he does care about her. He does like her. He cares about what she wants and everything to a certain degree. And she's just very grateful for it. And this is when she finally lets him hear her voice and everything. Do you know yeah. So Zora heads down to the studio the studio that her friend Portia recommended her, and I think that she done something shady to get her this opportunity. Portia did something shady. So Zora goes down to the studio to meet with this guy called Reggie, and she sings for him and everything, and she kind of does a really tiny small scale demo right then and there. And he's like, yeah, for a EP kind of thing demo with 6 to 7 songs, that's gonna cost you $2,000. And she's like, I can't afford that, but my friend did say that if you like me, then you're gonna lower the price or cut me a break, right? And then he said, okay, give me 500 now, and then we can work out the rest later. And then the music thing, she gets that going. So one evening, right, Zora is preparing dinner. Well, she's already prepared it, and they're getting ready to eat. And Franklin is like, I've got some news for you, right? He's dropping some bombs. And then he goes and says that he hasn't finished. He never went to college, but she just said, oh, you just dropped out, which is very common. But then he's like, yeah, I didn't even finish high school. I don't have a GED. I'm from the UK. I don't know what a GED is, but I'm guessing it's to validate that you've completed high school. And then, right, she's already startled by that. Then he's like, and I have 2 kids, 2 sons, and another bomb. I'm not exactly divorced yet. Excuse me. And she's like, what the hell? You've been lying to me this whole time. And he tries to flip it on her, saying, haven't you heard anything of what I've just said? She's like, why didn't you tell me and everything? And he said that you couldn't afford to get a divorce. And she said, in 4 years. And she has every right to be angry, and he's trying to flip it on her. And then he's like, you know what, if you want an excuse, this is it. And then he leaves. How on earth are you going to try and drop those bombs and act as if it's her fault? This guy. So after their quarrel, Zora finds Franklin at work, right? And she's like, I'm sorry for how I was. I know I have my ways. And when you watch this and you look back and everything, you're like, what? I know I have my ways. This guy has just come up to you and told you that he's married, has 2 kids, and doesn't have a GED. what? And she's like, I love you for you, Franklin. And he's like, this is me, you either take it or you leave it. And then, she then gives him her key, a house key. And he's like, whoa. And maybe he's feeling a little bit emasculated at this point, right? He's like, whoa, your bills are very, very expensive. I don't know if I could really do that. But she's like, no, I'll cover us for a while. And da-da-da-da. So it's kind of like she's subjecting herself to this man. Like, she must be deep. She's deep in love, because there's no way. Like, So Monica ends up meeting Franklin's children and everything. Guys, I just said Monica because obviously Sana Lapham was in Love and Basketball, and I got mixed up for a hot second. Anywho, yeah, so she meets his kids and she's accepted him for who he is, like she's happy with her choice at the end of the day. So, on this one night, they're sleeping and she ends up having an epilepsy. I think it's like an epilepsy attack. Epilepsy seizure. Sorry. The right term, I'm going to find it. But, she has that. And then he's like to her, why didn't you tell me about this? That's why you refrained from drinking. Because in certain parts of the movie, she doesn't drink alcohol. And, that's why, right? So that probably triggers the epilepsy. So, he's like, come on now, we need someone to take care of you, and there's nothing wrong with someone taking care of you. And she also says that other guys who have heard, like other guys she's dated, she's told them that, and they're like, oh, I can handle it, and they can't handle it. So, we can see that Franklin definitely cares about Zora, but it's just like, it's questionable, and we're gonna, yeah. So on this one evening, Zora takes Franklin to Claudette's house, right? With her boyfriend, with Claudette's, partner, either fiance or husband. And they're out at the house eating dinner, enjoying the evening. And then, there's certain points where, like, let's say the partner of Claudette is like, oh, what wine do you think we should drink, Franklin? Or what do you think about this music? And his retaliation to him is very abrupt, and it's very kind of cold. Like, I don't know, he's just very, he just sees himself as regular black folk, and he's not a fan of anything that's like pretentious or uppity. He's just like, nah, I don't like anything that's snobby, or I don't like snobby people. If you like this kind of music, that's for white folks. And he's just like, ugh. And obviously Zora is a little bit embarrassed by this, because you're doing this right in front of my friend and her man. Like, it is a bit embarrassing, not gonna lie, because like when the man of Claudette was like to him, what wine do you think we should have tonight? That's when Zora chimes in and says anything that's white wine, because maybe she's assuming he doesn't know because he's regular and he hasn't had certain experiences in life, So, I don't know. But the way that he responded was a little bit aggressive, like, you get it together, okay? You're humiliating me in front of all these people. So yeah, her studio time is going really well with Reggie, making this good song and everything. And then Franklin then takes Zora to his mum and dad's house, and it's like, it seems to me that his mom knows how he is, because she's like, what? Because he's like to her, yeah, I might start a business. He's like to them, I might start a business. And the mum is like, what? How are you gonna afford that? Like, she just seems like she knows his ways, and obviously she knows about the two sons and all those kinds of things, like what he does in terms of his habitual things, so his behaviors, his patterns. So this is just another sign, right, from once your mom knows, like, how you are, like, And Zora is she's a rider because she's like, we're gonna get through this. My baby's gonna do this for me, and the father's very supportive of him because it's his son, obviously. But yeah, his mom, like Franklin's mom and sister, they're like, what? They can just see through him like glass. So, and also, guys, I wanted to quickly add that whilst they were out at Claudette's house, right, and they were coming back home, Franklin let Zora know that he got laid off by Vinny, the guy that he's been working for. So yeah, just wanted to add that in there. So at this point, he doesn't have a job. So yeah. So one day when Zora is working at the school, you know, her stomach is hurting her. Like, okay, she's in pain. What do you think that means? And Franklin, he's on the lookout for work and everything, right? In Brooklyn, and he ends up finding some work. He's like to the guy, he kind of barters with the guy and uses his persuasion. He persuades him to let him work there for a week, and if he doesn't like it, he'll give him the money back. Franklin will give him the money back, and he ends up securing this job. So yeah. So back to Zora. Yep, she's pregnant, and she meets up with the girls at the park, and Claudette is more of the one who's more for Zora making her own decisions. She like kind of persuades her, like, if you love Franklin, keep the baby. And she's more gentle with her, right? But her other friend, Portia, is like, you know, if you need me to go to the clinic with you to do what we need to do, I'll go with you. And she's being more realistic. So she's also like, well, the other one, Claudette, is like, would you marry him? But then Portia's like, but has he even asked you to marry him? You know? So, but yeah, it's like she was so focused on her music, and she kind of got sidetracked. So, and she's like, she never wanted this to happen, but it has. So yeah, and it's like there's nothing wrong with having a child. It's just like you want your child to have an incredible life. And Franklin, you know, he's just about making it. He's just about rubbing a couple of stones together. Like he's not in the right place to be a father. Do you know what I mean? So Zora doesn't know what to do, and she hasn't told. She has decided not to tell Franklin at that point until one day, you know, she's like to him, you know, I have a yeast infection. And he's like, oh, okay. Do you want me to go with you to the doctors to make sure everything's all right? And she just brushes it off and everything. And he's like, all right. And then he goes out. They're meant to have dinner. He goes out, comes back, and he's like pissed drunk. And he's like, you liar. I know that you're pregnant. I know your period better than you know your damn self. And she said, and then he's like, don't kill my baby. To cut a long story short, she does end up keeping the baby. Okay, and then she ends up telling the music guy, Reggie, who she's working with, and he's really, really, really upset that she's pregnant. Because it kind of, you know, it could potentially slow things down, right? He's like, yeah, if you miss out on one of my sessions, I'm out. You got to pay me upfront money now because of this situation. And she's like, but Lauryn Hill has like two kids. And he's like, you're not 24. You're nearly 30. Right, she's 29. So it's like, you know, it's that whole thing of a woman getting pregnant, and it kind of stopping her from doing what she needs to do and everything. And Franklin's not thinking about any of this. He's just like, this is my business right here. You need to have this baby. Don't kill our baby. Don't kill my baby. All that kind of thing. I don't know. It's like a tale that you've heard of many, many times. And the fact that he came back pissy drunk. I mean, with Franklin, he loves the alcohol. Okay. He loves the alcohol. This is a whole lot of pressure for Zora because, you know, she wants to continue with her music. And, you know, Reggie, like from way before he was like, you know, I might be able to sneak you into Sony Studios for us to work, right? Right. So, so this puts a lot of pressure on her. And she is like getting to work, writing this song and everything. And, you know, on this one occasion, not even one occasion, and then, you know, she heads down to the studio for this session with Reggie. And, you know, on the way there, well, Zora and Franklin, while they are on the way to the studio to meet Reggie, and her girls are there as well, the girls are there, his attitude is just, it's out of order. He's like, what, you're not even worried about me? And she's obviously stressed out. She's pregnant. She's trying to juggle everything, work and the music, and you're there with your attitude. He's like, oh, you don't even ask me anything about myself. Like, what the hell is this? His anger, his aggression. Okay, so Zora finally gets to work at Sony Studios with Reggie, and she's working on this song. And it goes like, all the lonely nights in Brooklyn. And yeah, she's working on that song. Her girls are there to support her. She's sounding real good, and she's giving the song her all. Like, she was writing because the pregnancy has obviously made her more motivated and everything, right? And Franklin, he's supposed to be there to support as well, but he's out there getting pissed drunk, maybe because life is not, you know, lifing, and he's not able to kind of meet his own needs and everything. And he's out there getting drunk, kissing this woman. It's just it's not good. Okay, and at one point I thought that he was gonna cheat on Zora. I mean, he low-key does, because him and this other woman at this raggedy place are kissing, right? But he ends up putting her in a cab and says to the cab driver, get her home safe and everything. But it seems like they're already acquainted with each other, so maybe he goes down to that raggedy place when he's down and out in life. And, you know, he ends up making it to the studio, but probably smelling like alcohol or something like that. And he brings her flowers. He brings Zora flowers because obviously it's a big day for her. But another flag that's roaring red. Okay. From this we can see that he's not really the most stable person. Like, you're out there getting pissy drunk, and your girl is pregnant, and she's trying to stay sane, you know, trying to juggle her music, her work, and that's all you had to do was be there. Could that be a sign of maybe a bit of jealousy? Like, she's got something going on, and you're just out there getting drunk. Like, I feel like that's what it could be. So we know that Franklin's working at this new construction job, right? And, you know, the guy that hired him, he's like, you're one of my best workers. He warns him, like, before, that he's one of the best workers there, and, you know, stay focused, because there's other workers there that are drinking beer on their lunch break. And on this one day, he's drinking that, right? I don't know what possessed him to do this, even though he knows that he's got responsibilities. Like, getting drunk, you could end up in a compromising situation, right? And he also promised her, I forgot to mention, that he would work three jobs if he had to, just to take care of her and the baby. So why the hell is he drinking? So he's drinking, and then at the job, he climbs the ladder and he ends up dropping. And then he ends up getting sacked because, mate, you were drinking. And when she finds out, she's like, oh, so you were drinking? You know, where's the accountability out here? And I think at this point, it's like the energy is just different. It's like he just got his mate, got what he wanted, and now he wants to be acting up. Like, But again, he did tell her, you know, who he was and what he came with. So, So Zora is like, can we use your money that you've been saving up to get the divorce, right? To pay for things and like to cover them for a while. And he's like, all I have is $100 on me. That's all I got. You could take what you want from that. And she's like, what? Only $100 and something. And he ends up having to go to his other baby mama, with, how he has the two sons, and he's like to that baby mama, like, I ain't got nothing to give you this time. And she's like, what? And it's like, overall, he's just in a bad way, Someone like that should just be focused on being able to meet his own needs, not trying to get a woman. But yeah. It's Zora's 30th birthday, and this is a big one, right? And she meets up with her girls, and one of her girls, Portia, it would be Portia, right? To say, where's your man gonna take you? And she's like, Chaka Khan tonight. So, she obviously goes home after she's met up with them and gets ready to go see Chaka Khan with Franklin. But before the concert, they had made plans to go to a restaurant, right? And she's waiting there at home like, what the hell are you? And he doesn't show up. And then when he comes back, he's like a bit drunk, tipsy. And she says, hey, like, we were supposed to go to the restaurant first. And he says, we'll go after the concert. Don't worry about it. And then when they go down to go see the concert, he ends up buying her like balcony seats or something like that. And she's like, oh, I want to do front row. I want to be spoiled. It is my birthday. Rightfully so, yeah? Right, I mean? And, there's this guy in line who's like trying to bargain with people to get them certain tickets. And she's like, oh, I want that. And then he's like, yeah, make up your mind. If you want to go and get your tickets, then you can go and do that. But it's on your thing, like if that's what you want to do. So she ends up buying these other tickets where it's like front row tickets. And then she goes back to Franklin. He's like, oh, look at you. Like, and he rips the ticket that he got for both of them. The tickets that he got for both of them. And he's like, oh, basically trying to say, I feel emasculated and everything. Nothing's ever good enough for you and all these things. And he ends up swearing at her in front of all of these people, going, well, F you then, F you and your birthday. But, mate, number one, it's my birthday. Number one, it's her birthday. Number two, she's pregnant. And this is very, 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 very dangerous, questionable behavior. Like, talking to a woman like that is bad enough, but while she's pregnant, hell no. And we can just see all of his traits are just coming up. Like, he's unreliable, he's aggressive, quick to anger. No way, okay? So anyways, Zora, she gives birth to baby Jeremiah. They have a son. And obviously she's happy about it. And she's like, thank you for making me a mother. And it's a nice time for them, for the both of them. Zora's father actually goes to the hospital as well, and he's like, you have to be a man about it. You've got 3 kids, Franklin, right? And also when they go back home to the apartment, obviously Franklin, he works in construction, and he builds like beautiful furniture for the baby and everything as well. But then the reality hits of her having a baby, right? Because yeah, and she can't manage it. Like, she can't juggle it. She's struggling. And also he's struggling with work. He ain't got no work. He said that he's looking for it. He even goes by Vinny's, right? The guy that was the manager of him in the beginning. And he's like, I hope you haven't come down here for work. Like, he's looking all over the place for work. Okay, and Reggie's like, nah, you're taking the mick. Like, I told you this would happen. Like, if you the fact that you're pregnant, that this would be a loss, right, for me. It's a difficult time that she's going through, seriously. And there's this one time where she's working at the school, and obviously she's got Jeremiah with a babysitter, right? So that's the baby that they had together. And she's at the school working, and then she gets a call from the babysitter saying, like, Jeremiah was supposed to be picked up by by whoever it was, and it was supposed to be Franklin, but he didn't. And when she goes back to the apartment, he's just lying there, like maybe playing crossword or something. He's like, I forgot. And it's like, how do you forget to pick up your own child, right, from daycare or whatever it is, right? And she can't manage it. She's supposed to be having time off from work to bond with the child and rest, and she can't even do that. She's paying all the rent, all the bills, and all of that, right? And he's not doing anything at home. The dishes are piling up. It's just it's not a way to live. Okay, it is not a way to live. So yeah, they end up like arguing. Franklin and Zora, they're arguing, and then he's like, what do you actually need me for, right? And what does she need him for? Because he ain't really doing nothing. And what ends up happening is she's like, yeah, I want you out of my house. I want you to get the hell out of my house. He's trying to touch up on and everything. She's like, get the hell out. And that was a bit much. Yeah. And then, oh my goodness, when I tell you this man, we know that Franklin has, anger issues and alcohol problems, but to do what I'm about to show you, when he knows that he has a newborn, right, a young baby, no, just no. This is unacceptable. And this is why when a man tells you, this is who I am, you listen to them, okay? You listen. Like, this Franklin man is not right in the head. Like, if you know that you have a child, even if you don't have a child, like, why would you go and trash someone's house? He's breaking everything down. And the things that he built as well. And the only thing that he doesn't break is the piano, right? Like, no. Just no. So, Zora accepts this. She doesn't have a choice but to accept it, but time goes by and it's the end of the year and, it's a brand new year and she's just there crying. Like, it's sad at the end of the day. Of course, she subjected herself to this guy, but no woman, I think, goes into something believing that, like, it's not going to work out, but it's just sad when a woman sees a man's potential, but he doesn't see his own potential, and then she ends up kind of building him up, gassing him up, because she was really supportive of him, encouraging of him. Like, even when they went out and he told her about the Vinny situation of him being dropped from Vinny, she was like, F Vinny, F and Vinny, you can build up your own thing, okay? But so life goes on, right, as it should. No matter what predicament you're in, it goes on. And Zora is doing her own thing. She's happy again. She's got her rhythm back, right? And she's writing for other people and herself. And there's a scene in this restaurant with her girlfriends, Claudette and Portia. And they're like, oh, yeah, my girl's song is playing, da-da-da. Clearly she's got something going on that's substantial. And they're like to her, well, Portia, it would be Portia, is like to her, you want to start seeing someone, there's this fine man at the end of the bar. But she's not interested, she's just doing her own thing. And finally, Franklin is studying to get his GED and everything like that. And it's really funny how, like, when they were together, they kind of let themselves go. But when they parted ways, they were able to level up. But it would have been nice if they were able to level up before they met, or whilst they were together. They got caught up. And that's like kind of like the ending of the movie. Franklin, he doesn't see his son for about a year. And then one day he comes by to the apartment. And he's like, hey, like, and she's like, what? I haven't seen you for a year. You could have called. And the only way that I knew that, the only the only reason that I knew you was alive is because of the checks that you sent every month. So he cares he cares about his, about taking care of his son, but seeing your son is still important. But I think he just wanted to get his life together, and yeah, he had to like not see them to be able to do that, because he did. I don't know. He wanted to be able to hold his head up high. That's what he said, right? And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for disappearing acts. I don't know. I think it's really good that he got himself together in the end and everything, and he was able to start what he wanted to start, like with the GED and taking the test and everything. But you have to go through all of that. Sometimes in life, it's like, I don't know. It's funny how he had to go through all of that to which kind of kicked him up the butt, for him to be able to do what he's supposed to do, and be a man, show up for himself, because before he didn't have the motivation, he didn't have the courage to do that. So, and the same thing with her. It gave her a lot more motivation, after she had her son, and in the end, it's like she started to write for other people, and that's how she was, doing her music. That's how it kind of manifested for her in the end. So, they're both on their way at the end, which is nice. But someone like Franklin, there's just so many flags, like so many flags. It's the alcohol thing. It's the lack of I don't know. It's just so many things. It's the anger. It's the entitlement, right? Like, and also on her end, like, you're just kind of allowing this man into your life, maybe because you feel a bit lonely. I'm not judging. I'm just like, it's a movie, and like, come on. But like, this could have been avoided if you just took your time and not rushed into things. And I think this kind of movie, watching this movie alone will save lives. Okay, many lives. So if you guys enjoyed watching this breakdown, give me a thumbs up and comment and everything and share. And I'll see you guys in the next one.